With us now is Ehud. He is the former Israeli Prime Minister. Prime Minister, thank you very much. How do you feel about this potential Rafah invasion?
I'm not sure that I'm very happy about it. I think that by and large we can say that we have won this war. We have defeated Hamas. We have destroyed the military capacity of Hamas. We have killed more than 10,000 of its fighters, perhaps more. We have destroyed all the bunkers, all the infrastructure, most of the tunnels, almost everywhere. And I'm not certain that the additional invasion of Rafah, considering the circumstances, and particularly the fact that there are so many civilians that were pushed from the north part into Rafah by us, there will be now in the middle of this possible invasion. This is something that can add a dramatic advantage to the achievements that we already have gained in this military confrontation. So I think that by and large, considering all the circumstances, I'm not certain that this is the best strategy for Israel at this point. What we have to do
are
is
you
to
saying, but are you saying, Prime Minister, I'm sorry, sir, that Israel's already won, Hamas has been defeated, there's no need to continue?
That there is not a dramatic need that outweighs the possible ramifications for the fate of the hostages. We have to bring back the hostages. There are 134 Israeli hostages kept by Hamas. And I'm afraid that if we will continue the military operation in Rafah, we will not see any of them alive. And when I think about the possible advantages of this additional military operation in Rafah, in comparison to the possible loss of the lives of so many of the hostages, I think that we should prefer the lives of the hostages at this point.
Do you think Benjamin Netanyahu then has gone too far? You know, there's been a call by Chuck Schumer in this country. Others agree there should be elections. Now, some took offense to that, including many of your top government officials, sir. But how do you feel about that?
You know, I can't hide my opinion. It's been spelled out time and again in Israel and everywhere else. I think that Netanyahu has to go as soon as possible. We have to have elections as soon as possible. And I can entirely subscribe to the opinion voiced by Chuck Schumer. I know Chuck Schumer very well. He's a great friend of Israel. He's not a political opponent of Netanyahu. He's a supporter, a devoted supporter of the state of Israel. And I think he expressed the opinion and the attitude and the emotions that is shared by a majority of the Israelis. Let's face it, there are polls almost every day in Israel now for the last few months. And consistently in all the polls, the majority of the Israelis do not trust Netanyahu and they want his replacement. And I think that this is something that, you know, I don't believe that there was any democratic leader in any democratic country that would have been responsible for such a dramatic disaster and failure of his government.
But isn't it very different, Prime Minister? Isn't it very different, Prime Minister, for you know, a top senator in another nation to call for elections in a sovereign state? No matter how you feel about that senator, no matter how you feel, and you have strong views against Benjamin Netanyahu, do you find that extreme? Do you worry that if it were reverse, it would be dangerous?
I'll tell you something. Let's be honest. You know, we don't hesitate to come to guys like Chuck Schumer, and we did it all over the years consistently, and ask their support, and ask their commitment, and ask their votes, and ask their contributions, and ask their involvement. And then when they have a different opinion from ours, we have to say to them, no, but you don't have a right to voice your opinion. For someone that has been so devoted to the state of Israel as Chuck Schumer is, all his career, there is no one in the history of the American Senate with a record greater and better than Chuck Schumer in voting for the state of Israel, for the Israeli needs, Israeli security, Israeli demands, Israeli expectations. And suddenly, when he says something which is not in line with the Israeli point of view, or the government point of view of a particular person in the government, then suddenly he has no right to say, listen, we live in a free society, we live in a free environment of
All right, Prime Minister,
very close relations,
thank you
and we have to
very
respect
much.
it.
Very, very strong views, and I'm disrespecting you by coming to this hard break, but thank you, sir, very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.